This ballad was collected in a place called Boulton, but this one's not a child ballad, this one's an adult un. Turn off your hi-fi and TV, likewise the cursed Nintendo. I'll sing a song comprising mostly filth and innuendo. Come and listen to a stirring tale of passion and of power. There's less than 40 verses, so it only lasts an hour, concerning great Lord Wildblood and his lovely Lady Jane, and a man called Big Jack Cosgrove, of great renown and fame. Now he wasn't called Big Cosgrove, 'cause he had the strength of two. He was only 4'8" in height, and 6 stone 6 wet through. Though small of frame, he held the name, because reputedly his bright brown sword it wasn't all that hung down to his knee. And it came to pass on Whitsuntide, a Sunday dour and dull, Big Cosgrove he rode into town, and he was on the pull. For lords and ladies they came down from boudoir and from battle, to dance, romance, and catch perchance a glimpse of Cosgrove's tackle. Lord Randall and Lord Ingram came, Lord Wildblood and his missus, Lord Lovell and Lord Bateman's wives were trading showbiz kisses. But it seemed Big Cosgrove was delayed, or might not show at all, and the crowd all cried, "Hey Jack, you're late," but that was premature. For he burst into the party, and he raised an awful cry, for his armour bright was much too tight, and pinched twixt groin and thigh. And there was music on the stairs, and the strains of stirring song. Big Cosgrove strode, a tiny giant, through that milling throng. And it fell out on a holiday, it oft times had before, so he quickly put it away again, and hoped nobody saw. And he strode up to the Lady Jane, saying, "Lady, are ye dancing?" She says, "Kind sir, if you're asking, then yea, verily I'm dancing." And he took her by the lily-white hand, the fingers long and small, 'cause the other hand was short and fat, and just not nice at all. He clutched her to his breastplate, till she chastised and implored, says, "Your weapon doth provoke me." He said, "Nay, lass, that's my sword." He joined her in a swift quadrille, both rigorous and rough. With lusty looks he strut her funky medieval stuff, and breathlessly she whispers, in the dance's dying seconds, "Your sword doth still provoke me." He says, "Nay, lass, that's my weapon." Well, the horn was decked that eventide with horns and brazen trumpets, but he hadn't come for music, but to see the brazen strumpets. And some went down in velveteen, and some went down in lace. When Lady Jane went down, it put a smile on Cosgrove's face. He arranged to meet her later in a secret lover's tryst. Well, Jane turns up a half hour late, Jack turns up half pissed. At the height of passion, Lady Jane says, "I hear someone coming." Jack says, "It isn't me, love, it must just be the plumbing." But her husband burst into the room, exuding might and main, and he says, "You've kissed my lady wife, you cad, you knave, you swain." Jack says, "I will deny that charge in front of a solicitor. In fact, about the only thing I haven't done is kiss her." Up speaks the Lord, "I have 2 swords to cut through flesh and bone, and I shall have the better of them, and you can get your own." And the very first blow that Cosgrove struck just nicked Lord Wildblood's neck. And the very first blow that Wildblood struck laid Cosgrove on the deck. Well, she pulled away from Wildblood and she fled to Cosgrove's side. She placed a naked nubile form before his fading eyes. Miraculous effects occurred, but not the ones desired. He was laid down and bolt upright at the moment he expired. So it came to pass, big Cosgrove he went to his God unbidden. Well, they bought a lovely coffin, but they couldn't get the lid on. So they had the box extended, but it made the strangest scene, 'cause it looked like they were burying a wooden submarine. And big Cosgrove he was buried in ye olde Robin Hood, but the grave it wasn't deep enough, the way it had been dug. But they buried Cosgrove anyway, and rather than dig more, they left him with his periscope protruding through the floor. And people would trip over it when going to the bar. They spilled their drinks and skinned their knees. They spat and cursed and swore. You could do yourself an injury, and that they all did say. Why don't you saw it off and throw the bloody thing away? But the landlord wouldn't do it, for he'd promised Lady Jane that Cosgrove had a resting place where he could remain. And instead he nailed a saint on top, the sentimental fool. And when Lady Jane is in the mood, you'll find her in the Robin Hood, still dressed in all her mourning lace, with a look of pleasure on her face, still sitting in her favourite place on big Jack Cosgrove's stool.